Hi, and welcome to the Sidebar. I, of course, am your host, Gary Barton, and today we're going to be talking about divorce and whether or not you specifically need to file. Hi, and welcome. This podcast, we're going to talk about whether or not you specifically need to go forward and file for divorce. That is one of the most frequent questions that I get asked is when should I or should I in generally file for a divorce? And the answer is obviously going to be very specific to you. Is this something that you can continue on day in and day out without, number one, harboring resentment against your spouse, and number two, sacrificing your own happiness? And so they are very, very subjective when it comes to deciding these factors in your marriage. And ultimately, I oftentimes will advise my clients, if you are going to sit around for the next year and be truly unhappy to the point where you can't function or you're going to be consumed by the idea of being unhappy, how much is a year of your sanity worth? Is 1 year worth enough? Is 2 years or 5 years or 10 years? And that oftentimes is going to be the relying factor for many people when they consider whether or not filing for divorce is right for you. Ultimately, this is a decision that you have to make, and nobody, not your friends, not your family, not your spouse, not your kids, can tell you whether or not filing for divorce is right for you. There are all different reasons to file for a divorce, whether or not it's what we call fault-based divorce in Texas. The most common fault-based divorces in Texas are going to be some of the key things that you've probably heard of. Adultery, dating back to biblical times. That's always been a reason to go forward and file for a divorce because of the inherent nature on how difficult it is to truly forgive somebody for the act of infidelity. If that is not your situation, perhaps cruelty might be at play. What is cruelty? Oftentimes, cruelty is going to be defined by acts of violence within the marriage, possible control exhibiting both financially, emotionally within your marriage. If those are present in your marriage, there's a reason why the state of Texas says, hey, these things should not be happening in a marriage, and so therefore we're going to qualify those as fault-based divorces. The other reasons to go forward and file for divorce are going to be more personal. They're going to be more subjective. They're going to be more emotionally attached, oftentimes than the original fault-based divorce. A long time ago, you used to not be able to file for divorce unless there was actual fault-based in the marriage. That's no longer the case. We can go forward and file for divorce with what we call insupportable differences. You'll oftentimes hear in other states irreconcilable differences, but in Texas we call it insupportable differences. Well, what does that mean? That just simply means, hey, we can't get along and this needs to stop. This may not be in the best interest for me to continue this marriage, nor my spouse or my kids. And that circles back to what I just told you originally. What does your happiness look like moving forward? Is this something that you're going to resent your partner? Is this something that you're going to drive yourself truly insane trying to stay and stick it out in this marriage? And if you have crossed that threshold because you're calling a divorce attorney or you're calling my office wondering, should I get a divorce? Guess what? You've probably crossed the Rubicon. And you'll probably need to seriously contemplate moving forward and filing for divorce. Because if you don't go forward and file for divorce, that little creep in the back of your mind is going to continue to get bigger and bigger and bigger. That idea of not filing for divorce is going to harbor resentment, cause turmoil in your relationship, and ultimately continue to be, if it's not already, a toxic situation. And that is not good for any person, whether or not you're the marriage or you're the kids in the marriage. Nobody wants to be subjected to a tumultuous relationship because you can't make the decision on what's best for you and your life. And that's what it really comes down to. You need to make the decision. You need to be a big girl or a big boy, put your pants on and say, this is what's right for me and I need to do it. We're going to cover many other topics in divorces moving forward. We're going to talk about timelines. We're going to talk about cost. We're going to talk about everything under the sun for divorce. These will be coming at you very soon. Click down below. Hit like, hit subscribe, follow us on social media for more content. We'll be coming at you soon. This is Gary Barton with The Sidebar.